Welcome grade 12 advanced. We are going to record the final revision for the term 1 exams. I'm going to start recording with topic 4, and the IPQs are 4.15, 4.22, rate of change and derivatives. We have in this topic, we have the formula of the definition of the derivative, which is f derivative equal limit as h approaches 0, fx plus h minus fx over h. And we have also the average velocity formula and an instantaneous velocity formula. So let's start taking the first question here. The first question asking that a car's position is s of t equal half t squared minus 1 over 12 t power 3 miles after t minutes. Find. The first thing is asking you to find the average velocity. We know the formula of the average velocity. The formula of the average velocity is V average is equal to S of T2 minus S of T1 divided by T2 minus T1. So once you use substitution instead of T by the first number and instead of T by the second number, you can find the average velocity. So let's start doing the substitution here. Substitution in the equation. This equation includes the letter T, as you can see. So you just replace the letter T with the number 2, because this is T1 and this is T2. So you just do the replacement in this equation 2 times. 1 with the letter 2 equal T equal 2, and then minus, and the second time with the letter T equal 1. And down here 2 minus 1. Let's start doing the substitution. This is half times T power 2, which is T2, which is 2 power 2, minus 1 over 12, then 2 power 3. This is the first part, replacing by 2. Then the second part, with the same formula, you replace by 1. So it's half multiplied by 1 squared minus 1 over 12 multiplied by 1 cubed. You might use your calculator to find the average velocity. Let's use the calculator to check the average velocity. You might do one step of simplifying, or you can use the calculator directly. It becomes 11 over 12, which is approximately, you can write it as 0.92 mile per minute. The second question is also the same, but he's changing the time. He wants the average velocity between t equal 2 and t equal 4. So the average velocity is equal, same formula, V average equal. Now this is T2 and this is T1. So you are going to find S of T2, which is S of 4, minus S of T1, which is S of 2, divided by 4 minus 2. You will do the same as the previous question. Same. You just replace instead of T, you put 4 in the general formula here. So put 4 instead of T and write the first brackets. Then put 2 instead of T and write the second brackets. And down keep it 4 minus 2. So this one is half multiplied by 4 squared minus 12, 1 over 12 multiplied by 4 cubed. And here again you will repeat the same thing but with the 2. So it's half multiplied by 2 squared minus 1 over 12 multiplied by 2 cubed. As I told you, you can do the simplest form or you can find the answer directly. You check the answer. Your answer is 2/3, which is approximately 0.67 mile per minute. Now let's move to the next question. He's also asking you about the average speed, and he's giving the formula as S of t equal 4.9 t squared. What you are going to do is to find the average speed. How can we find the average speed? By doing the same steps. But he's giving you that to find the average speed after t seconds. Find the average speed during the first minute. During the first minute. First minute means starting from 0 to 60 seconds. So what you are going to do is you will write that V average equal, then you use S60 minus S0 divide by 60 minus 0. Similarly, you use substitution, but in this case, it's only a substitution with the t. So it's 4.9 multiply 60 squared minus 4.9 multiply 0 squared over 60 minus 0. And then you use the calculator to get the answer, which is 294 mile per second. And then you can find part 2, but he's asking about, in part 2, he's asking about the instantaneous velocity or instantaneous speed. So you have a different formula for the instantaneous speed. Since t equal 60 seconds, so you will use the 60 instead of a. So you will write the formula first. The velocity, instantaneous velocity equal limit as h approaches 0. You will find this formula in the formula sheet. S of 60 plus h minus S of 60 divided by h. So its limit as h approaches 0. Then use replacement instead of the function. (4.9) multiply 4.9 multiply by 60 plus h squared minus 4.9 multiply 60 squared over h. Then in this step you have to do, the square root. This one, you remember a square, a plus b square. You can solve it as a square plus 2ab plus b square. You will apply this formula once you have a brackets square, like 60 plus h square. So how can we solve this? Let's write 4.9 as it is, and then 60 square, which is 3,600, plus 2 times 60, which is 120, times h, plus h squared. This is the first brackets. Then the second brackets is negative 4.9 and 60 square, which is multiplied by 3,600 over H. Finally, you can use distributive property here, distributive property, and combine like terms and cancel H together. Once you use distributive property, you will find it as 4.9 H squared plus 588 H over H. Now you can cancel 1H, 1H, 1H. So your answer is limit as H approaches 0, 4.9 H plus 588. Of course, this limit as H approaches 0. So that means H is 0 cancel. So your final answer is 588. Now let's continue with question 3. He's asking you that there is a volume of cylinder, and he's asking you to find the instantaneous rate of change of the volume with respect to radius at R equal 6. Once you see an instantaneous velocity or an instantaneous rate of change, you have to do the same thing, the same steps like the upper one, and use this formula. Use this formula and keep pi as it is. Check your answer, and once you finish, your answer will be C. Finally, I'm going to solve this question, and I will close this session at this part. But let me finish this question. He's asking you here to find the limit as H approaches 0 for f dash equal for f dash of 1, yani derivative when x equal 1. You have to find this limit first using this formula. So I will rewrite this as limit as H approaches 0. Then use substitution. Instead of x, put x plus H. So this one, x plus H squared minus 9 multiply x plus H minus fx is the same. Fx is the same. X squared minus 9x divide by H. Use the use the square brackets formula. So x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. Use distributive property. So negative 9x and negative times h, negative 9h, and then minus x squared, and negative times negative is positive 9x over h. Then find as h approaches 0 if you have any simplification here. Of course, we have simplify. We have x squared positive and x squared negative. We can cancel x squared positive and x squared negative. And then also you have here 9x positive and 9x negative. Since we have h, we can take h as a common factor from up, or you can write it as 2xh plus h squared minus 9h over h. And then you can cancel all h together, and then you replace h by 0. If you cancel this h and this one here and one here, and you get the final answer as limit as h approaches 0, 2x plus h minus 9. Finally replaced by 0. So the answer becomes 2x minus 9 because h is 0. So this is your answer. At the end, you will find f derivative at 1 because he is asking you to replace x by 1. As you can see here, he's asking you f derivative of 1. So you find f derivative of 1 by replacing x by 1. 2 times 1 minus 9, which is 2, minus 9, which is negative 7. This is your final answer. Thank you for attending this session, and I'm going to continue the revision during the next session, inshallah.